Hi, and welcome to Foreign Currencies with Scott. I'm your host, Scott. So, this is our weekend update after our first full week in our $1,000 challenge. And I just wanted to remind everybody of a couple of things. First of all, this will not go as average every week. So, what do I mean by that? So, over the course of a year, to meet our $1,000 challenge, starting out with $2,000 and turning it into $3,000 by making 50% on our money, over time, that will average from 5 trading days a week. We will just find 2 trades to enter. One will be successful, one will not be. But the one that is successful will bring in 1.5 times as much money as the one that is not successful. So that is average over a year. Now, as it turns out, our first week ended up being exactly that. On our Wednesday video, we had a win. So we were up $72 on our $2,000 stake. I said I would only do videos with charts on the last 2 trading days of the week if there were something interesting to say. And of course, there was something interesting to say both days. But on Friday, we entered a trade and it was a losing trade. So we lost $48. So over the week, we made $24, which is over 1% gain for the week as the account ended at 2024. So I want you to keep in mind that an average week will be over the year, but that is not typical. More typical is streaks. So you have a 7 trade winning streak. You really feel elated and excited and we just want to keep going. Or you have a 7 trade losing streak and you feel dejected and depressed and why am I doing this? So remember, just keep it even, follow the method. Over time, it will average out. So after a couple of days and one full week, we are exactly at that average right now. So watch these 2 videos, see if you can pick up anything, and then we'll see more about what happens in the coming week. All right, so just a quick video here to show uh, Wednesday night into Thursday morning before I take all these lines on my chart away and get ready for tonight leading into tomorrow morning. So I've drawn an oval here and we're highlighted at the intersection of New York close on Wednesday night, the time and the price. And so you can see the middle line and then the line above and below. And if we just come over here to the right, we'll go to 3 a.m. And I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit for 3 a.m. to appear at the bottom. Okay, and now it does. All right. So now we're looking at 3 a.m. and you can see once again, as we started 3 a.m., we were below the 30 pips line. So we had no trade. But again, for the second time, and what I believe is the second time this week even, within just a few minutes, we hit a high that you can see on the green candle that goes above the line. Then we did a red candle. And if you recall, we said that if we were outside those 30 pip limits, we would look for a candle that goes back in the direction we want before we would enter. So then we would have entered on that third uh, green candle. So green candle went above, then red candle, then a green candle with a small body and wicks about equal distant on either side of it. That's where we would have entered. And you can see that we got nowhere near to going up 20 pips from that. But if we come down here through the rest of the morning, it certainly went down and not only reached 30 pips below, uh, well, no, 30 pips below is would have been our target, and this middle line is where New York closed, but it went beyond that, in fact. Wouldn't have mattered to us, but it would have been a winning trade, is my point. And that would have been the second time this week, I believe, that this has happened. So, what we're going to do is, because it's so close to 3 a.m., we're going to keep an eye on this after London Open, just looking for this type of situation. So, it's not as if we were uh, below the line and then after 3 p.m. we made a big move up and went above it. That doesn't really, that move up happened during the London market, if that were the case. So that's not really what we're looking for. But here we were all but over the line. And then as London opened, we immediately went over the line and then back down. So we'll be looking for this situation from now on, just to see if there's a potential trade there. Now, when it makes that move up and goes over the 30 pip line and we see a red candle and we enter to sell, could it turn around and go up and keep going up like it had been earlier? Of course. And in that case, we would lose 20 pips. But again, every time we enter a trade, we could possibly lose 20 pips, but make 30 pips. So it would have been still would have been a good trade to try. We're going to keep our eyes open for this in the future. All right, so our last published video on Wednesday, I did say I would only pull up graphs for the Sunday video if something interesting happened in our two remaining trading days of the week. And sure enough, I have a little excerpt for each day. So you just watch the Thursday, and now I'm going to talk about Friday a little bit. So Friday, we had our first losing trade. And so that kind of gives us the average week. Just pretty much what I said as an intro, that we would hope to average over the year to make our goal of $1,000 and meet the challenge. And that is, out of the 5 trading days in the week, we would probably find on average 2 where we could trade, and we would get one of those right and one of those wrong. And that is exactly what happened this week. That is actually somewhat rare. Usually these things tend to happen in streaks, and we'll get several right in a row or several wrong in a row. So it's important to maintain that posture and discipline. Sometimes when you get a bunch of right in a row, you think you can do no wrong, and you're happy and joyous because the account keeps growing in size. And on the other hand, when you get several wrong in a row, you feel like you're doing something wrong and the method isn't working, and you get dejected. So we need to avoid both of those extremes and just keep plugging away as the year goes on. This week just happened to be the exact demonstration of an average week. So what we're looking at here is the vertical line of the Thursday New York close. And then to the right of that, we have the overseas markets. And then at 3 a.m. on Friday, the opening of London. So I'm just going to draw an oval here so I can point to things. Okay. So here's our oval, and so here is 3 a.m. So let's actually close up on that a little bit closer so that we can see the actual 3 a.m. on the chart. Okay, and now our oval is really big. But now if we look at this here, we will see that just before 3 a.m. at 2:55, we had a red candle, and at 3 a.m. we had a green candle. Now this is the lower of the horizontal 30 pip lines. As I back off a little here, you can see that there are 3 horizontal lines, the middle one being the New York close, and this bottom one that we're around now is 30 pips below. So what happened at 3 a.m. when London opened is we were already below at the bottom of that or excuse me, at the top of the red candle where the 255 period started, we were below. So now we are looking to trade. When that candle came in at 3, between 3 and 3:05 a.m., we felt like, okay, aha, we're now going in the opposite direction, which is what we want. Because as you know, we want to move from this line here, the 30 pips below, back to the New York close. So on this third candle here, the tiny little green candle, we were able to buy. And so we bought with 30 pip take profit and 20 pip stop loss. And now as we move the chart over, you can see we got not quite halfway there, but well on our way there. And then we took back down below. And at this point, that's not so bad when it's only as low as we've ever gone before in this time period. But then as we move over, you'll see that now we're not getting up as high, and now we are going lower. So this indicates a downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. And sure enough, the pair went down 20 pips. And let's just draw in that 20 pips so that we can see where our trade closed out. So 44.7 is the low point. We got in around there. Let's do 24.7. That's 24.8. So you can see we were stopped out actually a little bit earlier here. Okay, so we were not able to make a positive trade today. We made the trade. We made a good entry point, but then the pair turned against us and kept going down. And so we did lose our stop loss. But of course, that was limited to $48. And earlier in the week, we made 72. So the net for the week is a positive 24. That's over 1% of our account. And we're perfectly happy with that. And it's just a textbook week as far as making our goal of $1,000 in a year. So we'll talk more about trading in general next week. I want to thank you for looking at these examples, and I'll have more to say in the general video course. All right. Thanks, guys.